So far this season, what have Scotland done twice, Munster done once, and 3 out of the 11 Super Rugby teams done 0 times? The answer is kick a penalty goal. There are only 3 ways to score points in rugby. Drop goals have already become a novelty, almost a gimmick. And now, for some teams, it seems that penalty kicks are going the same way, as they go all in on scoring tries. So why is this, and is it right? That's a question I put to professional analyst Angus Usher.
I wouldn't really ever take kicks at goal from a penalty.
Really?
It's a very rare occurrence.
So as you can tell, I was pretty surprised by this answer from Angus, but as he went on to explain, there's actually a ton of science behind what he was saying.
It's a bit depending on my goal kicker as well. But as a coach, for example, Stormers is a good example, just kick everything for touch. Because Manie Libbok's not been kicking well, unless it's right in front of the post, it's a guaranteed 3, you may as well just kick everything for touch. The only problem with that decision making with the Stormers in particular is the Stormers maul has not been working very well. But if you have a decent to good maul, it also obviously very much impacts your decision, because you as a team could do your self-analysis, understand the chance of your points being scored off a certain part of the game against a certain opposition, off a certain position of the maul, for example, and then you could use that data to say, well, actually, we'd be better off relying on our 79% goal kicker from this position instead of going for touch.
So let's stress test this theory and carry out a case study, and let's use my team, the Scarlets. The Scarlets have taken the most penalty kicks of goal out of anyone in the URC, with 23 in 10 games. The next most is the Lions with 14, 39% fewer. Now the Scarlets are doing okay this season. They're currently sat 6th in the league with 5 wins and 1 draw from their 10 games. But crucially, they're sat 1 position behind local rivals Cardiff, and that's despite having a points difference that's more than 70 points better. And the reason for this is simple. So far this season, Cardiff have registered 6 try bonus points, whereas the Scarlets have only registered 2. This season, Cardiff have mastered scoring tries from set piece. A whopping 80% of all of their league tries have come from set pieces, whilst 53% of their tries have come from first phase moves, the highest of anyone in club rugby. What's more, they have a 42% efficiency rate of scoring tries when they enter the opposition's 22. Meanwhile, they have kicked for the poles just 4 times in 10 games. So by turning down shots at goal and instead kicking for the corner, Cardiff have been able to register 2 more log points this season over the Scarlets, despite conceding more than 60 points more. Let's look at the Scarlets' most recent game, a 30 points to 24 home victory over Edinburgh. In this game, the Scarlets opted to take 3 shots at goal, and fly half Johan Lloyd nailed every single one of them. But should they have taken any of these shots? So far in the URC, the Scarlets have scored 65% of their tries off first phase moves, and 48% of their tries have originated from set pieces. In this very game, one of the Scarlets' tries originated from a tap and go on Edinburgh's 5-metre line, and the other 2 came from driving mauls. In fact, the Scarlets' top try scorer this season is captain Josh McLeod, who has scored 8 of his 9 tries from driving mauls. And overall, the Scarlets have a 1 in 3 conversion rate for turning visits to opposition 22s into tries. Therefore, you could convincingly argue that if the Scarlets had kicked for touch rather than kicking for goal 3 times, they would not only have still won the game, but they would have registered 5 log points instead of just 4. And as Angus explained, there are even more stats that we need to pay attention to when making these decisions.
An underrated aspect to it as well is your restart receipt quality. Are you good at getting out of your own half after a restart? Because if you are shaky under the restart and you've just kicked a penalty hoping that 3 points is going to make a massive difference, and you have a terrible kind of record from getting out of your own half after a restart, well, now you put yourself under pressure and you could concede 7. So those type of decisions also need to kind of be taken into account. You've got to take a lot of different kind of steps into account before you decide, is the 3 points really worth it? Is this 3 points worth putting ourselves back under pressure again?
Currently this season, the Scarlets have just an 88% success rate of exiting their own 22, one of the lowest in club rugby. Meanwhile, their restarts aren't that great either. Against Edinburgh, they achieved just a 67% restart success rate. So by taking the 3, they weren't just turning down the chance to score a try, but they were also probably going to gift Edinburgh an attacking platform in their half. Even if the Scarlets had gone to the corner but failed to score the try, the chances are the play would have remained down in Edinburgh's half. And the thing is, none of this is purely hypothetical. We actually have a very recent, very prominent case study of a team turning down shots at goal with extremely positive outcomes. The stat that sticks with me is I think I worked out that last season in the URC, Glasgow in the regular season took 3 shots at goal in the whole season.
Who was the top scorer in last year's URC season?
Oh, top try scorer. Oh, it was Johnny Matthews.
Who is
the Glasgow
and therefore everything was kicked for touch and they mauled everything and they scored a lot of maul tries.
So is that it? Moving forward, should we all be turning down kicks at 3 and always be going to the touchline? Should we be furious when we see our team opting for the posts? Well, no. As with all things, context is everything.
It depends on which level of the game you're talking about. I feel like at a Rugby World Cup, if there was a Rugby World Cup tomorrow, we would see just as many penalties as ever. When defences, I mean, we looked at the World Cup final, South Africa versus New Zealand. It's small margins. It's a single kick, a Geordie Barrett missed kick, if you want to look at it like that.
There's some game state to it as well, isn't there? Though sometimes just taking the 3 just takes the edge off. Obviously, it introduces a break to the game, and it just keeps the scoreboard ticking over.
It's an interesting one. I do love the conversation about going for poles or going for touch. I love it, and as I said, the spectrum is so dependent on the quality of a kicker versus the quality of maul, and you can find the sweet spot in between of where you'd get your benefits.
So I hope you enjoyed that video and you found it at least thought-provoking. If you did, please leave those thoughts in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.